Very different from my Nosebeard saga, but scarily similar. Sadly, this is my friend's story. I'll call her Lemonchill like I did in my own story to conceal her identity. It's relatively cringeworthy, so heed the warning. Lemonchill had invited me to have a quick birthday lunch. She wasn't feeling very well, but her family insisted on having lunch, so we all agreed to have a quick lunch out and I'd go home afterwards. We were eating our lunch. I'd ordered fried seaweed rolls and tteokbokki. Her family was pretty wary of me due to cultural differences and very strained relations between our countries, Japan and Korea, but eventually warmed up a small amount. They still very much dislike me though because of where I'm from and where my family is also from. I wish Lehman didn't try to apologise for their behaviour, because I could understand why they'd be cautious. Halfway through the lunch, Lehman and I were hit by a deep musky smell. Her parents, older brother and sister Pellegrino, and we'll call him Bergamot, appeared to be looking for the source. Bergamot seemed to have found it, quickly but slowly turning his head to face us and pretend he didn't see the source. The parents watched a bit longer before returning to their meals. Lehman audibly gags, but plays it off as a cough. It wasn't a complete lie, as she had had a cold during this time. I was the last to take a peek at the cause of the smell, and slowly turned my head. There stood a rather unhygienic looking fellow. He was a little on the overweight side, Caucasian with painfully greasy hair and a ponytail, a pubic hair looking beard, cargo shorts and work boots, and a Deadpool hoodie. I didn't want him to notice me staring, so I turned back around to my own meal. I swore I felt Lehman and Bergamot's parents cringing. I couldn't agree with them more. Lehman tried to create a more peaceful atmosphere and asked me how my cat was doing. She met Leo before and absolutely adored him, even though he was the biggest grouch in the world that day. She also revelled in the constant cuddles and kisses my dog Jetta greeted her with. I said he was okay, and he kept looking for her. He has a habit of searching for the newest person he met after they've already left. She smiled a bit, finding it cute that my cat could possibly not be a jackass the next time they met. I'd gotten questions from Lehman's parents about the scars on my arms. I could tell what they were insinuating, but I debunked it politely, explained that my cat's a bit of a roughhouser, and he was just playing. Suddenly I heard a rather sharp gasp on my blind side. I had to completely turn my head to my right and lean from next to Lehman in order to see what the source of the sound was. I was sitting next to the window and she was sitting closest to the end to leave quicker if she needed. I saw said pubic-haired beard guy staring dead at Limoncello. Bergamot also looked at him with death in his eyes. The parents were giving subtle side glances at him. Then I realised he was with two other men, who looked very similar to him. Pubic beard does sound very uncomfortable. Cringe warning. I'm so sorry. Skip the cringe to read on. Or not. He slides his hand across his tongue and tries to slick back the frizzy hair sticking out of his ponytail, tries and fails to nail his eyebrows, and gives Limoncello the most exaggerated flirtatious look ever. Lehman is visibly uncomfortable, and so is everyone else at our table. He continues to stare directly at her, wagging his eyebrows at her and licking his lips, as if he had seen the best meal. Bergamot continues to hold his death stare. Pellegrino stares in disgust. I'm figuring out a plan to deflect the attention from Lehman so she can enjoy her birthday lunch. Her parents gossip about him to each other subtly. Lehman gives me a pleading look. I slowly switch our meals to the opposite sides, with zero explanations to anyone at our table, making brief eye contact with Lehman, then unnoticeable eye contact with Pubic Beard, pretending to look at a painting. Bergamot then switches his stare to me, but it changes from, I want you to explode right here now, to, what the heck is this bitch doing? What are you doing? I face him, not blinking before I tap Lehman's plate 3 times with my chopsticks. It's a signal she and I made up, if we're ever in an uncomfortable situation where we need to move somewhere else. She taps in response before she stands up. Sunflower, I'm going to the bathroom. Can you give me your opinion on my makeup? I nod in reply. Yeah, I'll be right in. She leaves first, and I wait for a few minutes, making sure the pubic beard isn't watching, before standing on my own and speed walking to the bathroom. I find Lehman practically glued to the wall, visibly shaken. I give her a hug, and let her calm down, and squeeze me as hard as she wants to relieve her stress. I have a high pain tolerance, so no amount of squeezing she does can truly cause my pain. She eventually releases her death grip and gives me a quizzical look. Why did you switch our dishes? Because when we get back out, we're switching seats. I'll block his eyes so he can't see you well enough without seeing puffy hair. Lehman nods appreciatively before she takes a deep breath and goes back to her table. I wait a few minutes too before going back out as well. I take her spot, this time sitting across from Bergamot, and Lehman is across from their parents and Pelle. Bergamot still hasn't changed his facial expression and held his death stare, but softens when he and I have a conversation. Due to my blind side, he's being my seeing eye. His eye twitches, and he starts to quietly laugh. Said gentle sir had a very disappointed look on his face, and constantly kept trying to look at Lehman, but couldn't get a good look at her due to my big hair blocking his way. I hadn't ironed my hair that day, so it was big spiral curls all around. His friends were eating like they had never been taught manners in their lives, and he had food caught in his teeth as he struggled to peek over my hair. I didn't look at him until I heard rapid footsteps and hear a rather winded gasp. This time I'm directly face to face with his gut and take the brunt of the smell. He never once breaks his stare directed towards Lehman. I can feel a cringe from where I was sitting. Hi, excuse me, Mr. and Miss. Your daughter is very beautiful, and I was wondering if she would like to go out with me. He's coughed by me choking on one of my fried rolls, and Bergamot lecturing me why I should be more careful like him. Pellegrino smacks his shoulder for the lecture. Her parents stare at him in shock before her father firmly speaks. Absolutely not. Gentle Sir is dismayed by the answer, then desperately leans over me to get as close to Lehman as possible. Pellegrino raises her chopsticks to his throat out of instinct, and I grasp Lehman's wrist in a death grip, prepared to make off with her to my car if I have to. My other arm is in front of her body like a mom's seatbelt, pushing her back away from this creep. I can feel her shaking and trying to reach around to grab my hand. Lehman is a painfully kind soul who doesn't do well with confrontation, and is very shy and mild-mannered. Will you go out with me? I'll take you somewhere nice, and I'll pay for everything, I promise. You're just so beautiful, please. Enough was enough. I release my grip on Lehman as she tries to grasp my arm. I yank it away as the waiter comes to tell him he has to leave. He refuses until he feels something digging furiously into his gut. It was my bony, skinny finger wrapped in a napkin, harshly pushing him away while digging into his skin to cause pain. He groans a little bit and gives me a death stare. What are you doing, bitch? This has nothing to do with... Now there's a perfectly logical explanation for why nice guys finish last. Seeing your behaviour today is absolutely immature and quite frankly disturbing. Unacceptable. You're scaring my friend, and when you mess with my friend, you face me. How dare you interrupt her lunch with company she chose? Do you understand how much of a child you are? You're what, early to mid-20s? Be a grown-up and accept that someone doesn't want you, and you don't even have consent from the parents. Now in her culture, I'm pretty sure the opinion of the elders is very important. In my own culture, we share the same values. Elders' opinions are highly important. Now ask the elders what they say before you come tumbling about and almost squashing us with that beer gut of yours. He didn't ask the parents, so I asked for him. Mr. and Mrs. Kang, is he suitable for Lehman? Her parents decline. Lehman? She furiously shakes her head. No, he makes me uncomfortable. I glare at him. Well, there's your answer. No. Everyone said no. I'm not even part of her family and I agree with them. Understand? Or do I have to speak a different language? Speak now before I switch to all three. But that's not fair! She should come with me! I'll treat her like a queen, a goddess, and I'll ravish her! She should come with me! Security! I shout. The gentleman continues rambling while his friends egg him on and shout derogatory words at me, some of which I have no problem listing. Eventually he is escorted out and his friends are removed too. Lehman is silently crying and I'm trying to fix the chopstick I bent out of anger. We all leave and I go home after apologising to the family for my behaviour. They assured me I was fine and sent me on my way. I got a text from Bergamot an hour later saying, "We didn't want to tell you, but we're moving Lehman back to Korea. Our parents gave you consent to visit her if you want." I was a little sad, but expected it. She was only staying for a year anyway, but hinted that she might return at some point.